That's okay. Almost didn't record this one. Okay, we almost missed the YouTube recording, but I just recorded it now, so we didn't miss anything. All we missed is my reaction to Dr. Monty choosing Xerath, which means I'm by default gonna have to root for. You know, I say I generally have to be unbiased, but if somebody's gonna pick Xerath, by default I have to root for them. So looks like lulnenko with the bullhead. That's also a fun pick, although. With the Atlantean ban, the super high roll late game is not there. However, that's fine because Demon is still available, as we see in the shop here. There is the Hellhound, which is going to give an incredibly strong early game for lulnenko as the bullhead. So that'll be. I had to imagine bullhead doesn't lose too many fights, if any, early. Kauzality here with the Ground Sin and just sort of valuable unit pickups here with the valuable spell. That's already a decent start. Dasimovian with Crowley and double Hellhound, but not any other beasts yet. Still though, you're never sad to see a Sprout. So Syracles, CambaCamba has the double Vampling. Vampling is definitely a unit you want with Syracles, I would say. However, they did get a very unfortunate spell here with the Arcane Excess. I do wonder if in what's shaping out to be a pretty strong early game lobby here, I do wonder though if tripling this Vampling right now is going to cost a lot of health in the long run. So they didn't roll there, that was just a weird visual bug with the spectator mode. So, can I see what they're looking at? Okay, these are some good ones. Fresh Meat and Hammer are obviously just good stats to your whole board, but Hellfire, you know, Hellfire is one that is pretty divisive, I think, between players. I think a lot of players either consider it like one of the best 2 costs or just kind of lackluster. We'll find out what Camba thinks of it if they end up picking it here. They might as well use this time to really think about what's the best for them. So they do go with the Hellfire. So we see here Camba is probably one of the players that values it pretty high, right? Dr. Monty here with the Wraith Insurance. They will not be getting it here, it looks like. Which is unfortunate. You'd love to get it going right into turn 2. Ooh, okay. Syracles here with the promotion available if they want it. Kind of want to see if they cast it. They might just buy some units and lock it. That's also perfectly acceptable. You know, if it's a brick, which with Demon open, it could definitely be a brick, right? It might just be a lava toad or something. Though I suppose with this, a lava toad isn't horrible. Let's take a look at Nameless here. No upgrades yet, just standard morgue things, but at least the board is pretty good. You know, the Bloodsucker at 8 damage here. If it gets its attack off, almost certainly going to 2-for-1 most boards. However, against an Syracles, it might not get its attack off. So 25% chance that it doesn't. And we'll see here if the promotion, ooh. So they do get that 25% chance. However, they might still win here. There's just more. The low attack on these units really kind of comes back to bite you. It's very hard to win fights. I think it's why I'm not a huge fan of like Water Elemental and Vampling for that reason. So we got a triple here. First triple on Morgue for that Sprout. They take a pretty good value artifact here. Death's Contract. Let's take a look at Groundson. What do they got going on? A Sprout, an upgraded Sprout, and a Death's Contract as well. And are they facing each other? Yes, they are. Well, great minds think alike here between Cause and company. No Grek yet for Xerath, unfortunately. How's RayJay looking? They do have the early upgraded Mana Guardian, which should mitigate the potential downsides of an early game Gordo. So And their board is decently strong here. They got a good artifact. I have to imagine RayJay will stabilize here. We haven't checked in with BloodRune yet. We'll check in with them after this. Alright, they got the 2-for-1, even though there's a resummon. Does look like RayJay will take this one. Alright, we'll check in with the Hag player, BloodRune. Does look like they have only found... They did just find a Grek, so that should help them a little bit. But perhaps they've only had the Sprout and the Cavalry. They've had the Sprout for a while, it looks like, at 10, 10-10 there. But maybe the Cavalry was also just found the last turn or so. At 7 health... No, actually, it must have been found right into level 2, because at 7 health, that means it died twice. So they're going to be going against the Zerath player here, who does finally have a Grek, and I like this. I like the slot 5 with it, and also the Cavalry to protect against Scattershot. You know, it'd be devastating to get Scattershotted here. But, you know, in slot 5... the Grek will probably attack a unit that potentially is stronger than if it were attacking in slot 1, which allows the Grek to probably, hopefully, make use of that Deathless trigger more often from slot 5 than slot 1. Hopefully I made sense with what I just said there. So for instance, we see it here, slot 1 with the BloodRune is, it does die because it has 2 health, but you know, it's just possible, and it's also just because the Elbow Traps, right? Without the Elbow Traps, it wouldn't have died. It doesn't end up mattering here, but it could have easily ended up going on that 7-2, right? Like, if the backline wasn't 1 health, that Grek could have attacked the 7-2 in that case, where it would never have done that from slot 1, right? Let's take a look at dasimovian. And as expected, Lulnenko still is not taking damage. Let's take a look at them as well. So they have definitely a soup build going on here, but a soup build with Bullhead is expected. You know, everybody's a beast. Everybody benefits from these Hellhounds. Now, the interesting thing, though, with a non-Atlantean Bullhead is where do you go from here? Obviously, you're going to be very strong through level 2 and level 3. Level 4, you start to fall off. Level 4 and beyond, eventually you cut this Hellhound, right? Eventually the buff from this isn't super relevant. And then what do you do with the end game, right? So that'll be an interesting pivot point to catch later. Crowley here. What does Crowley have as a theme? He has a safety helm with 1 cavalry unit. Or 2 of them. It has 2 units that benefit from safety helm. Has Executioner's Axe for the Grek, and just a value artifact with fresh meat. So overall, just valuable board, I would say. And the Mana Guardian is quite large. It looks like he either promoted into it. Thank you, Relom. Sorry, I have really small text on my other screen right here. I can't really read your name, but thank you for the follow. So it looks like dasimovian really doing pretty well here. You know, you got the most likely 2-for-1 with the 10 attack Bloodsucker. That'll fall off soon, so he does have to probably eventually replace that. Interesting with the Flambar. I do wonder in tournament play if Flambar is gonna be good. I had predicted it wouldn't be, but my predictions have been off plenty already. You know, I had predicted Gordo wasn't gonna be a good tournament Archdemon, but we just saw it take first in that last game, and who knows, maybe it'll get there again this game. Certainly with this Mana Guardian and another Mana Guardian pickup, certainly with all of that, he's looking okay. Looks like he'll be going similar to, I believe Trail did the same thing last game, where you go with the 2 weaker elementals up front just to really hyper scale the Earth Elemental. Which does mean that you probably lose fights in the meantime, though. We'll see. That Scattershot does kill one of the backliners. It's really up to this Mana Guardian to carry the entire load of this board, and it probably isn't going to be enough, it looks like here, for the Groundson. So Kauzality putting in some damage on RayJay. Looks like Bullhead lost a fight. We don't know against who. Probably the Morgue would be my guess. So what is Nenko looking for at this point? He's got the he does have the double ritual artifacts, so we know he's at least staying true to his roots here of ritual and the Scholar's Pledge. So I am not at all disappointed. I'm seeing what I want to see, right? We want to see lulnenko in their natural habitat here, which is absolutely what is occurring. And it looks pretty strong, right? Like we got a very already this Fire Slinger is pretty big. And also just the value Grex here to disrupt the back line or disrupt whatever. You know, Grek is just a really good unit with how it can mess up enemies' game plans. It's like, it's becoming more and more popular, right? It was really popular in the beta days, and then when the game first released, I feel like Grek wasn't super popular, but it's gotten back to the point where I think people have caught on to Grek's value, which is to say it's very valuable, right? And yeah, it's just hard, like, you're not always expecting the Grek. If you're really thinking about it, you can predict it sometimes, but if you're not expecting the Grek, it really can just mess up a lot of your boards. So RayJay actually got really powerful in the last turn or so since we saw them, but it's still just not quite enough to deal with lulnenko's board here. But definitely they've improved their board a bit since we even just last saw them. Let's take a look at what Asircles is up to here. Okay, they have a pretty good slot 1, but the rest of the board is pretty sad. There's a bomb in the shop, though. That's definitely a way to stabilize. I am hoping they go that route. You could already kind of take the Magicus and then put the Fire Golem and that in front of it with your 11 mana there. Looks like they do opt to not go for it, though. You know, maybe that's... maybe their thought is that they're going into Zeroth. Get my music back here. You know, they're going into Zeroth, so probably Grex are incoming. However, you do have the Auxiliary Rat and Vampling are ready to eat up that Grek hit. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe they're afraid of the 4 health Babam getting sniped. But yeah, I have to think the Babam would have been stronger than what he ended up with there. Interesting choice with Monty here to slot 1 the Flambar back to that Grek. That Tangle actually may have screwed up Monty's plan here. Because he could have just killed this right now if the Grek was still in slot 5. That Tangle actually put in some work. Monty does still take the win here, but I think Asircles did mitigate a significant amount of damage, maybe 2 or 3 damage by that Tangle reshuffle. Ooh, Asircles having a tough time getting... so, you know, you're on your back foot at this point, right? You're on 11 health. You're in danger. You could die with a really bad loss. And the 37 health Morgue, you know, without knowing, you know, we can see the board here, but they don't know what the board is. You have to be a little worried at this point. So what did Asircles pick up? They've picked up an Ice Elemental. Believe they picked up that Implord. I don't recall if they had that last turn. They might have already had that last turn. I know they had the Fire Golem. Looks like they may have tripled a Fire Golem, but unless that was an earlier promotion, I just don't see any 5-cost treasures, so maybe it was a promotion. Hard to catch it all, really. Everything moves fast. Alright, if it could see... I suppose anything other than the Forsaken Knight was a good overkill there. Probably would have preferred the Archeros, though, right? Alright, the Tangle helping a bit. Enough to at least probably, yeah, mitigate a few points of damage here. But now they're really in danger at 5 health. They really gotta find something to stabilize here. They only really have this underguardsman putting in a significant amount of work. Everything else is quite weak. So hopefully they can find some sort of value pickups here. It's gonna be really tough. They could, I guess, copy the Fey Fire Golem. There's definitely merit to that with the Enchanted Clay. A brutal set of back-to-back fights, though, for Asirocles. Now they have to go into Lulnenko, who is very strong here. Well, their Fire Slinger is very strong. The rest of the board isn't necessarily that strong. They have a Babam, though. The Babam is definitely going to put in some work. It could get overkilled. There's a 1 out of 3 chance it will, because obviously the Asirocles will go first. And even if it doesn't overkill the Babam, maybe it overkills the Fey Fire Golem, which probably doesn't matter, though. At 30, you know, it has 33 attack, even if that Fey Fire Golem dies, which is obviously not that. 33 is killing anything on the Asirocles board anyway. Unfortunately, he gets the worst overkill possible with the Imp Lord, so that's probably going to spell it here. It's I don't think Asirocles could have won this fight anyway. But just an unfortunate turn of events. You know, he was already on his back foot and had to run into kind of arguably the strongest 3 in the lobby back to back. Let's see about BloodRune here. BloodRune is also kind of in danger, well, not kind of, definitely in danger of dying here. All 3 of these players really are. Xerath, Gordo, and Hag. Gordo's looking pretty strong, though. They did just pick up a bomb as well. Gotta be frustrating for Monty, though, to not find Archeros. Obviously, you would have wanted to find one, but it's somewhat of a contested unit, I think. I know at least one other player was running it. So, Nameless has an upgraded Archeros, which takes 3 out of the pool. I guess nobody else is running it, though. It's just a little bit unfortunate that Monty can't find it, I guess. You know, however many in the pool, I think it's like, what would it be, 12 at that level? So there should be still 9 or so in the pool. And you just can't find it. This is the problem. This has been kind of my experience with Xerath, though. It's like, there's just too much you have to find for it to be consistent. Obviously, the high roll is there. Oh, brutal. BloodRune picking up that eruption. Brutal. And BloodRune having a full greener board with Strunk and Strunker on it already is going to probably allow him to turn the corner here. He might be killing Monty here. That might have just allowed Monty to survive that Deathless proc there. Okay, so Monty's still in it. But BloodRune definitely turning the corner here. BloodRune, I could definitely see a comeback forming at the moment. And he does have the health vial. Who knows? Maybe it gets him back out of range if he survives a few fights and then loses one. He's going to be running into Morg here, though, who has that Archeros, has that Clan Lord. Is that Hellfire Cannon? I will say assassins don't do a whole lot typically against greeners. However, in this case, it will. Think about the breakpoints here. So 22 damage. It will attack. I guess it won't be horrible, but let's see. I believe it will attack this Grek because this thing will grow health this turn. I believe it's gaining health this turn. So it's going to attack here. It will, let's see, 22. I guess it won't even 2 for 1. So I guess it's not that bad. It just kills his lowest Grek here and will leave the boost at 1 health. That's not that bad. So BloodRune might be fine here. Oh, and it looks like Nameless switched his board around anyway. So the Hellfire Cannon was not in slot 1. Yeah, I think the greeners are going to take this one. Obviously, that ranged unit... Okay. I was going to say the ranged unit could snipe a few units if it doesn't get targeted there, but yeah, BloodRune pulling off the comeback here potentially. Looks like Xerath survived. They finally have an Archeros. Looks like they're opting to go for the upgraded boots scaling though over the Archeros kind of deathless to everything game plan. They're even cutting the Archeros, it looks like. I mean, it makes sense. Is he really gonna gain much at the moment from the Archerous? It's hard to say, right? You know, it gives 6 attack to everything. I do feel like he could put it in, but it's like it's very susceptible with his current board to enemy assassin, right? Because it's at 4 health. Best he could do is he'd have to field the Flambar and the Archeros, and he'd have to field the Flambar, you know, in slot 1 through 5, so that the enemy assassin attacks it instead of the Archeros. It's also super susceptible to eruption. I get it. I think I get not playing the Archeros here. Let's see if he can survive the Nenko. Oh my gosh, lulnenko has the Hellfire Knight. That is going to be tough. This is one, and it's also outside of the Grek range because it looks, I have to imagine lulnenko put the Forgotten Armor on this Hellfire Knight to get it out of, get it out of targeted strike range, which is 12 damage spell, but also to get it higher health than this 12 health Imp Lord to protect against assassins. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't expect lulnenko to lose that fight, but it looks like he did. I didn't pay too much attention to everything that went on there, but I guess there's a lot of stats. I mean, he does have the Helm of the Abyss, giving a lot of health to the cavalry and the captain here. So actually, yeah, maybe I've completely underestimated Dr. Monty's board here. He just kind of has a lot of stats up there, and that should do pretty well for him. Let's take a look at RayJay. Looks like they have a Hellfire Knight. Must have been a promotion, I'm guessing. I don't see any 7-cost treasures here. And it's obviously not the unit they want. They might want to try to build into it. I don't know how recently they got it. It's definitely an upgraded Hellfire Knight, though I'd have to assume is worth putting literally any demon in front of. 60 stats is a ton, right? And yeah, at 26 health, it's definitely a promotion. So let's see if RayJay survives here. Maybe they just got unlucky and didn't really find any demons to put in front of it. They did cast Sacrifice as well. It's possible they have more than 9 health right now. I will say the Sacrifice is, especially as a spectator, isn't always accurate. Wow, is that a double Deathless proc? Why did that... Is it just me or did that thing attack like twice? I don't know what happened there. All I know is that they both tie, so... Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Let's get to a different screen. Let's go back. Okay. Looks like they cast a barrier on the Mana Guardian. That's going to be pretty strong. Now, do they pick up this... Interesting. I would have to imagine they pick up that Red Beast. Interesting. They don't go with the Red Beast. They must just not really be looking to set anything up with this Hellfire Knight. I gotta say, I would definitely be interested in putting the Red Beast in front of this, but... Maybe they're valuing just these high stat assassins in slot 2 and 3 that the Archerous is making here. I could definitely see that, though I will say, if he's thinking ahead to the opponent, he has to think that a Hag has a Grek in slot 1. That's just very standard, right? And at that point, you got to be thinking that this Archeros is getting sniped, right? But this is just something you're not always thinking about, right? Especially in a tournament setting, you know, I'd be hypocritical if I said I can think straight through these type of, shall we say, high-pressure situations, right? So BloodRune just looking incredibly strong here. You got the Darkness Incarnate now with that upgraded Strong and Stronger. This might be... I mean, that barrier is going to put in some work. It allows that thing to probably 2 for 1 and as long as it doesn't get hit by the Strong. But this is going to be close. Gets that Deathless proc. Oh, duh, it's the Flying Boars. I didn't catch that before. So he has Flying Boars. That's why he's getting like double Deathless procs. So if his health is indeed at 9, that will be it for Gordo. Alright, unfortunately that is it for Gordo, just barely dying there. Kaz hanging by a thread here. We haven't checked in with Kaz in a bit. He's got a full elemental thing, well not full elemental, but you know, elemental forming here type strategy. A lot of damage up front. The upgraded Babam with the Arcane Offering going to provide a lot of extra damage. Who's he facing? And that could really be brutal for the Archeros, which a lot of, now that he's, Monty has picked up the Shadow Blade, right? And has the Center of Power Archeros. This is the dream build starting to formulate. Unfortunately, he may not be suspecting. Oh man, between the Frosted Axe and the Babam, very susceptible is this 8 health Archeros. He's going to have to dodge quite a lot to not bust out here. He still has the stats here, though, that might carry him through. I don't know, though. With that high of attack, probably not. Got the Deathless proc there. Okay, never mind. I thought that this... I guess... Wow, this... I guess I didn't factor in the fact that they're assassins and that they're not going to attack the front line at all there. So, yeah, that definitely was a stomping with Monty there. Monty looking very strong. He might want to cast that Bastation Armor on Archeros. Yep, he does. So that's really good. The only final piece I would say is to get Stealth if he can on that Archeros, and he'll be unstoppable, I think. At that point, with the Shadow Blade, Center of Power, Archeros, like, it's going to be very hard to beat him. Still, a Frosted Axe could do it. A Frosted Axe or otherwise Overkill is a way to stop it. Lulnenko has pretty good stuff here, and that KF, the Knowledge Fiend, will be probably pretty pivotal now that's coming down to the end game here. We got the Center of Power upgraded Stealth Babam here. Now that could still be an issue for Xerath if he runs into it, but I don't know. The problem is, like, this board would be really good against Xerath. I don't know that it's very good against the high, just sort of general stats that a Hag provides. Now, I will say it probably is pretty good against this Wraith Queen, but can it deal with this Strong Constructor? I doubt it. There's just not enough single target damage here to deal with the 300 health Strong Constructor. However, at 9 health, if that's the only thing that survives, then you're probably good. But I gotta imagine this captain is gonna farm off a bit of this here. Especially the Babam. Luckily, the Babam hits didn't hit the captain, but there's just not enough attack here. That might, if you can kill that unit. Yeah, probably, I guess he was dead anyway. At level 6, they have that extra 6 damage as well. So, well played to dasimovian, but now we're down to the bottom 3 here. Very interesting. They're all very strong in their own right. Very different builds, each of them. Both BloodRune and Xerath coming from behind here, whereas Bullhead kind of has had the opposite thing where they start out strong, but have trouble with the late game because they're just not that Hag is either, but, like, you know, both Hag and Bullhead don't really get much from their Archdemon power late game, whereas Monty gets a ton from the late game here, right? Oh, and the Yeti. Yikes. I gotta say, right now I'm favoring Monty. I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat, especially without none of these players having Frosted Axe. I don't think that these players are going to have the time to adjust to what Monty's bringing to the table here. So if I were a betting man, my bets are on Monty. But we'll see here. I guess I probably shouldn't have watched. You know, we'll watch the fight against the Ghost here. I mean, there's potential that this Ghost Babams, like, they're pretty brutal to this build. But no, not enough to take out that Fire Slinger. So, my bad though, I definitely should have caught the BloodRune versus Monty fight, but I'm almost certain, I just don't see how BloodRune can beat Monty's build. Yeah, so, my bad for not catching it, but in my defense, there's no way that greeners can beat this. Now, maybe demons can if they have an axe or a underguardsman. You know, lulnenko's, you know, they're pretty savvy. They might be able to pick up on the fact that probably if the Xerath has gotten this far, we don't know when they last saw Xerath. In my mind, I'd be thinking Archeros in the middle, right? It has to be there. Otherwise, how is the Xerath getting there this late? So they might want to try to pick up a vanilla underguardsman and just slot it 1 and hope for the best. That's something they might be able to do. They also could go with the Wraith Queen here, maybe. I mean, basically the only way that the demons are going to beat this is to get a bunch, to either snipe the Archeros or somehow, like, trade more than, you know, 2 for 1, basically. Somehow 2 for 1 snipe these, which is not that out of the question if these Yetis weren't here. But I think because the Yetis are here, it presents some issues. Now, I will say, there is, if Nenko had, oh, they pick up the Madness. That's interesting. It's a lot of stats. All right, so that's a good hit. That's a good hit. But that's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, I don't think that the... there's just too much. But that's a well-played fight. That's really cool to see. Like I said, by default, I had to root for Xerath, you know, on principle. And sure enough, Xerath won. So Dr. Monty, very exciting here. I wouldn't have predicted that Xerath win this. So, and honestly, I did not predict in the last game that Gordo would have won it. To me, they both seem risky, but with obviously some late game payoff if they make it there. And they both made it there. And I've been pleasantly surprised in both cases. So, well played to everybody in that game. But got to give the props. Put respect in that name for Monty for getting the Xerath win there. Pretty exciting. All right, so we'll take another quick break until the next lobby is available. Thank you for watching so far.